Happy Martin Luther King. Right. What's today? Fuck, it's the 19th. I messed up. So, I got really busy yesterday working on Martin Luther King Day, even though it's a holiday, and I got really busy, so busy that I couldn't record. However, I still make a video once a week, so I figured that I would spend my Martin Luther King Day looking up the three and only three movies that were made involving Martin Luther King. Now, I know that there are other movies that involve Dr. King. However, there are only three that I could find that were somewhat substantial in the film industry, whether it be a TV movie or an Oscar-nominated film. And these are the three that we're going to go over. Boycott, All the Way, and, of course, Selma. Now, even though films in general aren't 100% factual, and I should be celebrating Dr. King in a way where I'm only using facts or historical facts or comparing to historical facts, I'm not very smart, and I don't like history, but he is important enough to mention, and important enough that I believe that if I only find three films involving him in a substantial way, there might be something wrong with the film industry when it comes to actually portraying Dr. King in a different light. Granted, these are three films that are part of three specific times and different times in Dr. King's life. I just feel like there's a lot more films that could do that. But then again, you only think of one Malcolm X movie if you don't think of Ali. The first one's Malcolm X. And yes, I know I'm a day late, but hey, I'm running on CP time. I think this is the week I'm allowed to. Let's talk about first Boycott, which I do believe is an HBO-produced film. It stars Jeffrey Wright and is directed by Clark Johnson. Clark Johnson has only done a few films, such as SWAT with Colin Farrell, LL Cool J, Samuel L. Jackson, and Michelle Rodriguez. Great movie, by the way. I'm not sure why they didn't make more. Then again, it was based off of a TV show, and whatever, that's not the point. He's also done countless episodes of television programs, such as Homicide: Life on the Street, Law and Order, Third Watch, Soul Food, not the movie, the show, The Wire, The Shield, Your Honor, West Wing, Luke Cage, Snowfall, Walking Dead, Orange is the New Black. He's also done the movie The Sentinel, which I don't think anyone else has seen except for me. I liked it a lot. But this film takes place pre I Have a Dream, Dr. King. Right, does it? You'll also notice a lot of weird cuts because I keep fumbling my words, and also weird sound effects keep playing at weird times. Boycott, the film, takes place days after Rosa Parks' arrest in 1955, I believe December 5th, when the Montgomery Improvement Association wanted to boycott the bus industry so that black members were able to actually sit wherever they please. A first-come, first-served basis, and also general respect amongst drivers, and also the bus industry hiring African Americans. It was supposed to be a one-day event, and spoiler alert, it lasted 381 days. Somehow, they got at least 90% of black people to not ride the bus. This was done so by carpooling and a lot of walking. But what's even a little more interesting is that the taxi industry raised their minimum wage due to the government to 45 cents minimum bus fare, which was a lot back in those days, especially because the buses only charged 10 cents per passenger. So black people had no choice but to actually carpool or hoof it. This also led to one of Dr. King's infamous arrests as well. I believe he was going 10 over the speed limit, 35 or 30 in a 25 mile per hour zone. It's crazy. Some of the other casts includes Terrence Howard as Reverend Abernathy. Terrence Howard is actually fantastic in this, along with Jeffrey Wright. This is actually one of my favorite Jeffrey Wright roles. I don't believe that they showed this in school, but they really should have. It's actually quite fascinating. The Montgomery Improvement Association, or MIA, not the rapper, MIA, wanted their demands to be met, and these demands included courteous treatment by drivers, first come, first served seating, and employment for black drivers. Eventually, the boycott ended 381 days later, leading to a success that the MIA set out to do. But there is still more success to come in the future, which the following two films will actually get around to. But Overall, this film is actually very much worth watching. I believe that every person should watch it. It's also got a weird kind of documentary style. People are seen looking at the camera every once in a while. There are faux interviews with various different characters, such as bus drivers, policemen, or general community members that give their little opinions. But it's obvious that it is in the film. They are actually actors. But you think that it's just a regular movie, that it's not a mockumentary. And I wouldn't even call it a mockumentary because the camera is in places that it shouldn't be, amongst conversations that are definitely private. But there is two scenes where an actor actually pushes the camera out of the way. And it kind of is like, oh, this is actually happening. This is something that happened back then. It actually did happen back then, although it's under a fictitious lens. But I believe that it was a cool way of showing the audience that this might be a movie, but this actually happened. So it was pretty cool. This is actually my favorite amongst the three. Moving on to film number 2. Film number 2 is All the Way, which was directed by Jay Roach. He's done a lot of different types of films, like Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, not Little Fockers, but things of that nature. He did a lot of comedies. He also did The Campaign with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. However, he has also done political films such as Recount, which was about the Florida hanging Chad in 2001's election, or 2000's, I can't remember. It's not the point anyways. Jay Roach has done a lot of different films. This one actually does not revolve around Martin Luther King. It revolves around Lyndon B. Johnson, played by Bryan Cranston, taking place right after the assassination of JFK when LBJ took over the presidency. It has Martin Luther King in it, portrayed by Anthony Mackie, the Falcon himself. No offense to Anthony Mackie, it is the most boring of the three portrayals. Not saying he isn't a good actor, not saying it wasn't a good job, but comparing Jeffrey Wright's performance, Anthony Mackie, and David Oyelowo, I think I'm saying that right. I'm gonna have to Google that Brad Pitt video where he has audiences sing it. Anthony Mackie's portrayal was the most boring. He kind of just, we need to not do that. You know, it was very like one-noted. But I think the reason that they did that is because they didn't want to take Bryan Cranston's thunder, because it's supposed to be an LBJ movie. One of the most important part of LBJ's success in becoming the continuous president, not just by assassination, but by votes, was Martin Luther King's involvement on pressuring him to pass the Civil Rights Bill. So this is about the passing of the Civil Rights Bill. And it's pretty good. This was my least favorite of the three movies. So not only was Anthony Mackie's role my least favorite role amongst the three, but this was my least favorite movie. And granted, I'm not trying to be negative, and it's still a very well-made movie. I am just very bored by politics in general, so that might be why I didn't like it. But it is very important to know about civil rights. Duh. If you don't know about civil rights, you should look it up and not watch it in movies. Maybe documentaries or a book. Nah, not a book. Maybe the internet through blogs. Probably not a good idea. Instead, watch this movie, get bored, or like it genuinely. Because even though I did enjoy it, I was bored. Plus, I didn't want to watch a movie about Lyndon B. Johnson. I want to watch a movie about Martin Luther King, but I could only find 2 films starring a character that's portraying Martin Luther King, and this one, which has Anthony Mackie playing him in a very prominent role, but not much screen time. So I was forced to watch it. I do think that they did MLK justice, but, you know, it's not about MLK. It's about LBJ, a different acronym entirely. If you want to know more about the Civil Rights Bill and how it was passed with LBJ and MLK, check this out ASAP. Also, maybe this wasn't the best one because Carmen wasn't in it. Instead, she's in our next film, Selma. Now, of course, this is the most well-known MLK film because it actually had Oscar nominations from the director Ava DuVernay? I really should look up the pronunciations of people's names so I'm not disrespectful and I can actually pronounce it. We'll just call her Ava D. Ava D was nominated for this film. So was David O. No, she wasn't. Wait a minute. The film was actually only nominated for original song Glory by Common and John Legend. By the way, this movie has Common as well. And for Best Motion Picture of the Year. One of the nominees for the Best Motion Picture was Oprah Winfrey because she produced this film. Fun fact, she is the first African-American woman to be nominated for Producer of Motion Picture of the Year. Won't you look at that? But this film was actually very controversial because Ava and David Oyelowo and Duvernay were not nominated for the film. Honestly, it is not the most riveting film in the world, but I think it did deserve some recognition for her. Granted, she was nominated for a Golden Globe, and he was nominated for a Golden Globe for his acting. I feel like that they should have been recognized a little more with the nomination, in my eyes. If not her, definitely him, because his performance was very, very good. I wouldn't have guessed that this man was not American, but apparently he's not. His portrayal is actually very, very good. He's got his speech pattern down and everything. But I believe that Jeffrey Wright's portrayal was better acting. Maybe not a better impersonation like David's, but I believe it was better acting than David's. It's not a competition, though. We're just talking about the film. Now, this movie also doesn't involve the I Have a Dream speech. Now, this film takes place around the same time that Dr. Martin Luther King won the Nobel Peace Prize, about a year after LBJ won the election with MLK's help, and they got the Civil Rights Bill to pass. But MLK is not looking for voter rights to be amongst black people. Instead, he wants those voting rights to be unencumbered. Now, amongst the South, there are death threats and straight up denials for black people to actually vote. Why does this involve the 4 young girls that died in a bombing at a church? It's because the people that did the bombing can get away with it very easily, because you're in a system where you got white judges and white jurors, and the only way to become a juror is to be a registered voter. So we see how much trouble it is for a black person to become a registered voter with Oprah Winfrey's very few scenes. Oprah's first scene we see is her trying to register to vote. And of course you got an asshole who's a white guy. Go figure. You can tell that she has tried many times before. And he gives her even more shit by asking her to recite the preamble to the Constitution, how many county judges there are, and to name all of them. Crazy. So she gets denied. This is one of the many examples of how difficult it is to be a registered voter in the South. LBJ basically wants a leader that happens to be black, that black people will follow in order to follow LBJ as well. So he gets MLK's black votes for his presidency, and he also wants MLK's help with his war on poverty. But MLK's like, no. I don't care about the war on poverty right now. I'm trying to make sure that these black people can register to vote, just like everybody else. And of course, LBJ's like, I want the war on poverty right now. I don't know why LBJ sounds like Richard Nixon. Probably because I don't know how to do an LBJ impersonation. In any case, MLK is not down for it, so LBJ's not down for it. And the only way to prove this is to have a 50-mile march. And of course, Tim Roth's character, Governor George Wallace, is like, no, black people aren't humans. We can't have this. I believe that it is important that we remember MLK in different ways. For one, reading books instead of watching movies, because I don't believe these movies did justice for MLK. Boycott, definitely. All the Way, yeah, why not? Selma, yes. But out of the 3, my favorite is Boycott. So, because this video came out later than MLK, because I am very, very stupid, not lazy, but was very, very tired, I believe that if you want to remember MLK again, watch Boycott, watch All the Way, and watch Selma, as we remember one very, very great person in history that who knows where we would be if he didn't exist. I probably wouldn't exist. I mean, think about it. I'm mixed. Do you think that if MLK didn't exist, that this white woman, my mother, would a black man that I don't know? Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't exist. Maybe you wouldn't be watching this. Maybe you wouldn't exist. You certainly wouldn't be friends with me. But then again, maybe you're only friends with me because you thought I was Mexican and you wanted to have a taco or something racist like that. I don't know. All these questions. All these questions. But if I do have one answer, MLK was pretty dope. See you next week.